What's up, America? Welcome to the Tony McDaniel Show. Talking about sports here. This is episode number 1. So you're watching history in the making right now, America. Well, I want to start off talking about the BCS and just the retardedness that comes along with it. Um, this year, it seems like there's a problem every year in the BCS. This year is no different. Um, A big controversy this year is it Texas or Oklahoma going to the national championship? These are two teams, who played each other this year. Texas won. Doesn't that make Texas the better team? When you beat a team, you're better than them. That's how it works in any sport. If you beat a team, you are better than them. So why isn't Texas in the national championship? Well, we have to look at what happened after that game. Texas moved on to beat Oklahoma State and then lost the next week to Texas Tech. Texas Tech then moved up in the polls. They went to number 1 in the Big 12. It looked like they were going to be the ones going to the national championship. Texas Tech ran few teams, and then they moved on to their final game against Oklahoma. Oklahoma routed them, beat them by 30. This moved Oklahoma past Texas and Texas Tech. When that happened, I didn't get it. I thought Oklahoma's for sure gets past Texas Tech here, but not past Texas because they lost Texas. How can you get past a team that you've lost to? And right now, Oklahoma's the number 3 team in the nation. Texas is number 4. I don't get it. They beat them. Why aren't they ranked higher? Texas has also beaten Missouri this year. That's a team that Oklahoma hasn't even had the chance to play. When Texas beat Missouri, they were ranked much higher than they are now. I think they're ranked something like 18 now. Missouri has really floundered this year, haven't looked like the team they were supposed to be. But let's take a look at what could happen this weekend. Oklahoma is going to play Missouri. If Oklahoma beats Missouri, they are pretty much for sure going to be in the national championship against the winner of the SEC. So since they're going to be against the winner of the SEC, we have to take a look at the winner of this weekend's SEC championship of Alabama and Florida. Alabama is the number 1 team in the nation, 12-0, undefeated. Florida is the number 2 team in the nation, 11-1. This game is played at a neutral site, and Florida is a 10-point favorite. They are a 10-point favorite over the number 1 team in the nation. I think lots of people wouldn't be able to understand why, but I think I do. And I think it's all because of Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is an absolute beast. This is a kid who is going to go on to the NFL and going to be one of the all-time greats. He won the Heisman as a sophomore. No one's ever done that before. He could win the Heisman this year. It's probably not going to happen. Most likely going to go to Texas Tech's Graham Harrell. And then if he does not declare for the draft this year, which I don't see why he wouldn't, I think his senior year he comes out, he plays great, wins that second Heisman, and he's going to be the only guy to do that since Archie Griffin. Tebow is a great quarterback. He's the reason Florida is so successful. That is why they are the 10-point favorite. But I'm not going to give Florida 10 points in that game. I will give them a field goal maybe. I do think Florida wins that game, and I think Florida moves on to play Oklahoma in the national championship. Don't want to talk about a score there yet because that's not even finalized. If those are 2 teams, when that comes closer, we'll talk about it. Just want to say this. My top 5 looks nothing like the top 5 that the experts have picked. My top 5 goes Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, USC. That's how it goes. It's how I think it should make sense. I don't see how Oklahoma gets ranked over Texas when they beat them. We've talked about that already. You understand where I'm coming from. Let's move on. I hate talking about college football this time of year, especially when Notre Dame can't win football games, but we'll get away from that point too. Let's move on to North Carolina basketball. This Tyler Hansbrough is just incredible. He just led his team to win Maui. Didn't even play the whole thing. The whole team there is great. I think North Carolina's definitely winning a national championship this year. I know it's early, it's just in the first week. I think Tyler Hansbrough is going to win Player of the Year. Those are my two predictions for college basketball this year. In March, North Carolina's getting crowned as the national champion. And in March, Tyler Hansbrough is crowned as Player of the Year. You watch, it's how it's going to work out. And if it's not Tyler Hansbrough, it's Notre Dame's Luke Herringody. Because the kid's a stud. He's a beast. But I get on the Notre Dame bandwagon a lot, and we're going to move on before I start talking too much Notre Dame, because they got nothing to talk about there right now except for Charlie Weis. And let's move on to Charlie, actually. Charlie Weis, here's a guy who has come into Notre Dame. He, in his first 2 years, looked like he's taken Notre Dame back to the promised land. Charlie took Notre Dame to the Fiesta Bowl the first year, a loss to Ohio State. I accepted it. I think most Notre Dame fans accepted it because we went to a BCS Bowl. The year before, we were in the Insight Bowl and lost to Oregon State. The next year, we move on to the Sugar Bowl, a loss to LSU. We said, all right, it's fine. We're going to the big bowl games. We get Jimmy Clausen, got things to be excited about. The next year, Notre Dame goes 3-145, or whatever it was. But how do you do that? How do you take a team from going to 2 straight BCS bowls and then no bowl at all? They're the first team to ever do that. They beat Stanford that year and 2 high school football teams or something. Can't even remember who else they beat. It's not worth remembering. Come on. And now this year we're gonna end 6-6, maybe 6-7, because it looks like we're gonna play USC or Cal in that brute Sun Bowl. We don't even deserve that. I am one of the people who have stood behind Notre Dame of turning down that invitation to the brute Sun Bowl. Turn down invitation to bowl games this year. We don't deserve to go to a bowl game. We don't deserve any trophy this year. We deserve to sit on our asses at home and watch the bowl games. I'm done talking about that. That's it's tough for me to talk about. Let's move on to the games to watch this week. This week, Philadelphia is going to travel to New York on Sunday in the NFL. New York Giants, I think, are this year's Super Bowl champions. I know it's a little early still, but Philadelphia is going to go to New York. It's going to be a great game. Philadelphia just beat Arizona at home. Look for New York to win in a 7-point game. College basketball, Big Ten ACC Challenge kicks off. I think the ACC is way too strong for the Big Ten to contend with it all this year. North Carolina, Duke, Boston College, Clemson, all those teams are just going to dominate. Pretty much the only strong teams that the Big Ten has are Michigan State and Wisconsin. I think one of those 2 teams plays North Carolina. I can't remember which one. I don't think that they're going to be able to beat North Carolina. I think the Big Ten gets 2, maybe 3 wins in this whole challenge. I think that's about it. All right. We're going to end the show every week with big props. My big props this week go to the University of Cincinnati football team. Cincy, you are Big East champs. Congratulations. No one saw this come at the beginning of the year. Everyone's picking West Virginia for Big East champion to go and play in whatever BCS bowl it is you guys play in. I don't know. They're worthless. We need a playoff. Besides that, congratulations. Way to go. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I don't think you guys saw that coming. I think that you guys saw maybe an average year, but hey, congratulations. I don't think that little kid that your wide receiver ran over earlier this year saw that coming either. But congratulations, Cincy. Big East champs. Way to go, guys. All right, check back next weekend. Check back Monday. We're going to cover all the big NFL games, or the one big NFL game. We'll talk about the Big Ten ACC Challenge and any news that's going to pop up between now and then. Thanks, America.